Welcome to Epic Relics, where we uncover the hidden truths of myths, history, and ancient legends. Today, we embark on a journey into the enigma of one of humanity's most iconic and mysterious creations, the Sphinx. The Sphinx is not just a colossal monument lying in the sands of Egypt, nor is it merely a winged beast from Greek mythology. It is a symbol of riddles, power, and mystery, an entity that has fascinated civilizations for over 4 millennia. Across cultures, its image changes. Sometimes it is a guardian of temples, sometimes a deadly examiner of human fate, and sometimes a union of animal strength and human intelligence. Yet, the questions remain. Who was the Sphinx truly meant to represent? Why did the Egyptians carve it on such an extraordinary scale? Why did the Greeks reinterpret it in such a terrifying form? And why does this hybrid figure still hold such a deep grip on our imagination today? In this documentary, we will journey through 8 chapters, from the origins of its name, its sacred role in Egypt, its darker transformation in Greece, to the mysteries of archaeology, symbolism, philosophy, and its lasting influence in modern culture. By the end, we may come to realize that the Sphinx is more than a relic of the past. It is an eternal reminder of the eternal riddle of humanity itself. Let us begin.
The name Sphinx, as we commonly use it today, comes from the Greek verb sphingein, meaning to squeeze or to strangle. This definition reflects the Greek version of the creature, a deadly monster that strangled or devoured those who failed her riddle. But in Egypt, the land where the greatest Sphinx still lies, the creature was called something else entirely. The Egyptians referred to it as Sheshep-Enk, meaning the living image. That phrase alone tells us much about the ancient Egyptian worldview. For them, the pharaoh was not simply a political ruler, but the very embodiment of divine order on earth. To carve a lion's body, symbol of raw, unstoppable power, and combine it with the pharaoh's human head was no accident. It was a proclamation. The king is both man and God, endowed with the strength of the animal kingdom and the wisdom of humanity. The Sphinx was not just a statue. It was a living image of divine kingship. To understand this better, we must place the Sphinx in the larger cultural framework of the ancient world. The idea of hybrid beings, half human, half beast, was not unique to Egypt. In Mesopotamia, the Assyrians carved colossal figures known as lamassu, winged bulls or lions with human faces, standing guard over palaces and cities. In India, the concept of half-human, half-animal forms also appears in early mythologies, embodying cosmic balance and divine intervention. The Sphinx, then, belongs to a much broader archetype, humanity's attempt to capture the qualities of both man and beast, creating a figure that transcends ordinary existence. But what makes the Egyptian Sphinx distinct is its purpose. It was not created as a mere mythological monster. It was a sacred guardian, a divine protector. By calling it the living image, the Egyptians were embedding the pharaoh's essence into stone, an eternal reminder that even after death, the ruler's power continued to watch, protect, and dominate. When the Greeks encountered these statues centuries later, they adapted the concept to their own mythology. To them, the grandeur of Egypt's Sphinx transformed into something darker, a winged lion woman perched on a cliff, testing and destroying mortals with impossible riddles. 2 cultures, 2 interpretations, but both rooted in the same fascination with a creature that is neither fully human nor fully beast, but something altogether beyond both. The story of the Sphinx's name and origin reveals something essential about humanity itself. Across languages and lands, we sought to embody mystery, power, and wisdom in one form. The Egyptians saw majesty, the Greeks saw terror, and in both, we can see a reflection of our eternal struggle to define what lies just beyond human comprehension.
When most people hear the word Sphinx, their minds immediately travel to Egypt, and rightly so, for it is here, on the Giza Plateau, that the most colossal and iconic Sphinx of all time still lies, the Great Sphinx of Giza. Carved directly from the limestone bedrock around 2500 BCE during the reign of Pharaoh Khafre, the Great Sphinx measures an astonishing 73 meters in length and nearly 20 meters in height. Its face, though weathered by thousands of years of wind and sand, is believed by many scholars to represent Khafre himself. This was not merely art. This was propaganda in stone, a monument meant to embody the pharaoh's eternal rule, even beyond death. The placement of the Sphinx was no accident. It sits facing directly east, toward the rising sun. For the Egyptians, the sun was not just a source of light. It was the divine force of Ra, the supreme solar deity. By aligning the Sphinx with the sunrise, they were linking their pharaoh's image to cosmic order, to rebirth, and to the eternal cycle of day and night. The Sphinx became a sentinel of light, a guardian of the horizon, and a bridge between the mortal and the divine. But what exactly did the Sphinx guard? Many scholars believe it served as the protector of the pyramid complex of Khafre, the pharaoh's grand tomb. In this sense, the Sphinx was not a passive statue, but a spiritual guardian, an eternal watchdog, ensuring that the sanctity of the pharaoh's resting place remained untouched. Imagine approaching the pyramids of Giza in ancient times. Massive geometric mountains rising from the desert, flanked by this colossal lion-bodied, human-headed guardian staring unflinchingly at the horizon. For any visitor, pilgrim, or invader, the message was clear. This was sacred ground, watched over by forces beyond human comprehension. The Sphinx also carried religious significance beyond guardianship. It symbolized the pharaoh's dual role, both a mortal ruler and a divine entity. The lion's body represented raw physical strength, the power to dominate enemies and tame chaos. The human face embodied intelligence, reason, and authority. Together, they fused into a single image of kingship that transcended mortality. The pharaoh was not merely human. He was an eternal presence carved into stone. Over time, the Egyptians built many smaller Sphinx statues, often lining temple avenues or flanking sacred entrances. In Thebes, for example, a long avenue of ram-headed sphinxes once stretched to the Temple of Karnak, forming a divine pathway. Each sphinx, whether massive or modest, served the same purpose, as guardians, protectors, and symbolic bridges between gods and men. Yet, despite their sacred role, the sphinxes of Egypt were never truly worshipped as gods themselves. They were instead vessels, symbols that channeled divine power, especially the solar essence of Ra, into the earthly realm of the pharaoh. They were icons of protection, not deities to be prayed to. The Great Sphinx of Giza, in particular, carried a reputation that echoed across centuries. In the New Kingdom period, over 1,000 years after its construction, Pharaoh Thutmose IV claimed to have fallen asleep at the foot of the Sphinx. In his dream, the Sphinx promised him the throne of Egypt if he would clear away the sands that had begun to bury its colossal body. Thutmose did so, and erected the dream stele between the Sphinx's paws to commemorate the event. This inscription immortalized the Sphinx not only as a guardian, but also as a giver of kingship, a divine force capable of shaping destinies. Thus, the Egyptian Sphinx was not simply a monument. It was alive in the minds of those who built it, and it remained alive for centuries after. It was a guardian, a protector, a symbol of solar power, and most of all, a reminder that the pharaoh's authority was eternal, etched into the desert itself.
The Great Sphinx of Giza is not only a marvel of engineering, it is also one of archaeology's greatest enigmas. For centuries, scholars, travelers, and explorers have asked the same question: how old is it really? Mainstream Egyptology holds that the Sphinx was built around 2500 BCE during the reign of Pharaoh Khafre. Its face, they argue, resembles other statues of the king, and the alignment of its position with Khafre's pyramid strengthens the case. But not everyone agrees. Some geologists have pointed to unusual patterns of erosion on the Sphinx's body, erosion that looks more like the result of heavy rainfall than wind and sand. If this is true, it could mean the Sphinx predates Khafre by thousands of years, back to a time when Egypt's climate was wetter. This theory, while controversial, has fueled speculation that the Sphinx might be far older than we imagine. Then there is the mystery of what lies beneath. Modern surveys using ground-penetrating radar have revealed anomalies beneath the Sphinx's paws and body, voids or chambers that some believe could be hidden tunnels or rooms. While mainstream archaeologists remain cautious, others have speculated wildly, suggesting that beneath the Sphinx lies the legendary Hall of Records, a mythical library said to contain the lost wisdom of Atlantis, or even a civilization older than Egypt itself. Even the face of the Sphinx raises questions. Some argue that its proportions do not perfectly match Khafre's likeness, and may have been recarved over time. Was the original Sphinx different? Could its head once have been that of a lion, later reshaped into a pharaoh? If so, the monument might have had an even deeper symbolic meaning, one tied to cosmic cycles and the Age of Leo thousands of years earlier. Throughout history, the Sphinx has also suffered damage, adding to its air of mystery. Its nose, famously missing, was not lost to Napoleon's cannon fire as popular legend claims, but likely destroyed centuries earlier, possibly by iconoclasts who sought to erase its power. Despite this, the Sphinx has endured, weathered by time but still unbroken, a silent witness to history. In the end, the Sphinx remains as much a riddle to modern science as it was to the ancients. Was it truly the work of Khafre's craftsmen, or is it a monument whose origins stretch back to a forgotten age? For now, archaeology offers more questions than answers, and perhaps that is the true power of the Sphinx, to remain forever an unsolved mystery, keeping its secrets buried beneath the sands of time.